What's up, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today I wanted to show you guys a cool new app that I built that I actually launched a few weeks ago. So what you're looking at right now is the landing page for Fretwise. It's a platform that allows musicians to learn how to play any song with AI. The way that it works is that basically you can upload an audio file or drop in a YouTube video, Instagram, or TikTok link. I'll just demo it right now. And what it will give you is the tabs for how to play the song. So for example, like let's say I want to learn this sick riff. Really cool. I can simply grab the YouTube link, drop it here, click on transcribe. And first, you should select which instruments that you want to transcribe. In this case, I only care about the guitar. Click on transcribe. And basically what happens is that I send the audio to a audio to MIDI AI model, which then converts audio into MIDI, and then I map the MIDI notes to a guitar tab. So while this is working behind the scenes, I kind of wanted to just make this video to talk about some of the technology that I used to build this. Maybe it could help someone out. So to start off, I built the whole entire app with SvelteKit. It's honestly the best JavaScript framework. I've used them all. SvelteKit is just the best. And I actually deployed it to Cloudflare. So I'll get into it a little bit later, but most commonly you'll see people deploy their web apps to Vercel. But right away after I deployed the app, I started getting rate limited on the Vercel hobby tier, or the free plan, I mean. Vercel is honestly an incredible platform for small teams and teams of any size, honestly, that want to move very fast, because they just provide so much out of the box, and they abstract a lot of the complexity of web development. They allow you to simply just connect any GitHub repository and out of the box give you automatic deployments, preview URLs. But the problem is that it's just extremely expensive once you start scaling. So it's kind of a trade-off. And for me, after doing some research, I learned that I can deploy any SvelteKit app to Cloudflare with just a few lines of code that's different. Basically, if you have your Svelte project, you simply just drop in the adapter Cloudflare and you deploy it what's called a worker. This was kind of confusing to me because previously there was two separate entities on Cloudflare, one called Pages and one called Workers, but they've essentially merged to become the same thing. And Cloudflare is actually going to deprecate the whole Pages product language very soon. And they almost function the same. You can still kind of specify that you want your web app to be a page, but in my case, it's a worker. Kind of confusing, but regardless, I have it set up so basically anytime that I merge any branch to my staging branch, it'll trigger an automatic deployment, and same for my main branch. It'll make a production deployment. So I'll get into a little bit more of that later, but just to finish talking about the front end, using Tailwind for styling. I'm not using any ShadCN library or any like UI library. I've used a bunch of them in the past, but I think at the end of the day, it's just better to hand code all your components. So let's see what it did. Not sure why it's okay. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is what it renders, basically. So not the best, there's still some work that needs to be done to like really perfect the transcription output, but it's still a work in progress. And like I was talking about, out of the box, I give you a few different ways to listen to the tab. You can either look at this MIDI player, which is sometimes nice if you just want to just get a visualization of every note. Something I do also is I separate each stem. So for example, if there's a song that has bass, drums, and vocals, I separate each stem so you can listen to it on its own. And there's some products that do this as their sole platform. Like you can look up any like vocal splitter, or Moises AI is a big one. So that's that, the Alpha tab. The MIDI player, I'm using this new library that came out called Waveroll. There was actually a research paper done about it from some scientists. It's not that popular. It's only 23 GitHub stars, but it's really good. It gives you a lot of cool features like being able to specify the instrument, all this stuff. Sorry if this video is all over the place. I'm just freestyling. So the fonts, I'm using this package called Font Source. Let me talk a little bit more. And last but not least, I showed you that we separate each stem, and I'm visualizing this waveform, kind of like what you see on SoundCloud, with a library called Wave Surfer. So that's the main front end, and I'll talk a little bit about the back end tech. So like I said, everything is deployed to Cloudflare workers and pages. And the main way that I'm able to really make a robust transcription flow is that I'm using Cloudflare workflows. It's basically a way to allow you to create a pipeline of different events with built-in retries and queuing and really nice observability. If you've ever used an event service like RabbitMQ or Upstash, it's similar to that, except if you're already in the Cloudflare ecosystem, it's just so much easier. So the way that it works is that in my web app, I have a separate directory for every workflow. I have a directory called workers. And basically, the way that it works is that you simply define this one file that gets exported. And every workflow has a list of steps. And each step has a configuration that you can define, like retries, the interval is a dead letter queue, so I can show you how it works in the dashboard. So basically, every time a user drops in a audio or link, we start the workflow, and the first step that happens is that we first download the YouTube video. That's something I also didn't talk about, but basically I'm using a YouTube downloader service that I created. We fetch the audio from YouTube, and then we store the audio in Cloudflare. And then after that, we send the audio to a stem splitter service. Once that is complete, like we separate each instrument, like guitar, bass, drums. We send each one of these instruments to a fine-tuned model that is trained on transcribing that specific instrument into MIDI. I'll talk a little bit about that. Basically, I have all of these AI models deployed to a platform called Modal, and I'm I've been experimenting with this with this model called Your MT3 Plus, and I have a dedicated model for each main instrument. So once I split the stems, I send each stem, like the guitar stem, to this dedicated model. And what it does is it essentially uses machine learning to convert every audio note into a MIDI note. And everything here is like, I can have a whole dedicated video talking about this, but it's essentially each one of these apps is a Python project that gets deployed. Um, and it's just running on serverless GPUs. Like you can see right here that I'm using this T4 GPU from NVIDIA. And Modal is really nice because you simply pay on demand for the amount of minutes that the GPU is running. Regardless, so after that's done, after every instrument has their own MIDI representation, I merge them all together using a Python library. And after that, I simply call my web app's webhook to kind of notify that it's complete. And that's what kind of triggers the loading state to be done. And it's been working well so far. It's really, really easy to scale. Like if tomorrow I get 1 million users, it'll be just fine. And yeah, kind of just like blaze through this, but let me know if I think I'll just do a separate video talking about Modal and everything I'm doing there. So just to close, the last technologies I'm using for the backend, I'm using Neon database. It's I've used it hundreds of times. It's just a really quick way to get a Postgres database deployed serverlessly. And using Drizzle for the ORM. I'm using Betteroth. Something also to note is that I have all my secrets hosted on Doppler. This is a pretty incredible platform for managing all your secrets for your project. Basically, the way it works is that I do not have any environment variable folders or files. I simply have all my secrets defined on Doppler, such that whenever I run the app, I simply run the app with a simple command. You run Doppler run, and then like the configuration, like staging or prod, and it pipes every secret into your development environment. It just makes managing secrets so much easier. So I do have a pricing payment infra setup. I'm using Polar. I tried so many other payment providers. I got rejected from Lemon Squeezy. I didn't get rejected, but I applied for Paddle, which a lot of people say is like the go-to for SaaS billing solutions. But it took like 3 weeks before I heard back anything from them. My account was stuck in the verification process, and I just sent them so many emails. I eventually got approved from Paddle, but I applied for Polar, and I basically got accepted on the same day. And ever since then, I've been kind of, a big believer in this platform. It's super simple to set up payments. And yeah, that's basically it. I have a lot of Discord events. Anytime there's like a new transcription, a new user sign up, I have a dedicated channel, like for each main event that I care about. I have one for like every new user events. Anytime a user clicks on one of these pricing cards, I get an alert saying that someone is interested. Like right now, I can click on this, and in my channel I just see that someone clicked on the pro plan. It's just good to know. And yeah, this is kind of it. This was kind of just like a speed run of everything. And yeah, just to close how I'm able to move so fast, I use Claude Code for everything with Ghosty Terminal, um, Zed and NeoVim, of course. I will never use Cursor or a JetBrains product or VS Code. And Whisper. I've recently been really loving Whisper. It took me a while to fully, kind of harness the power of this tool, but it's essentially just a voice to text, and it's very, very accurate, very quick, and yeah, I basically don't type anymore. I just use Whisper and vibe code my life away. So that's basically it. Check it out right now at fretwise.ai. Sorry if this video was all over the place, but definitely subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next video.